Hi, everyone. My name is Guillaume Leti. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Carbonable, an open source and decentralized infrastructure to designed to engineer trust and capability to the carbon offset market. Carbon offset is at a crossroads of vital environmental impact, imminent compliance requirements, and intense controversy. So in this short presentation, we'll dive into how Carbonable, by leveraging StarkNet technology, is shaping the so required transformation of this industry. All right, like to get the elephant out of the room right off the bat, raise your hands those who think that carbon offset is a scam. All right, so we have a few people thinking this is a scam. This is like, I mean, the hard reputation that this market has, and right, and the truth is that this market has done quite some noise recently, and not necessarily for the right reasons. So headlines highlight, and rightly so, some of the main challenges facing this market. It's undeniable. Carbon offset has plenty of challenges and deficiency. However, the question is, the words worthless and license to pollute, are they justified contextually, or are they justified fundamentally? Well, let's look at what the science and the climate experts are saying on the matter. What they're saying is that without like drastic increase of carbon removal and avoidance, that's a fact, we won't reach Paris agreements. So we need them. They're simply essential in the fight against climate change. Actually, they also state that we need at least to increase by 3 times the funding of nature-based solutions. Nature-based solutions not only for the climate change aspect, but also for biodiversity protection and also for livelihoods development. So let's set the record straight. No, carbon offset is not greenwashing. No, carbon offset is not worthless. No, conserving and restoring nature is not a right to pollute when done properly. So it's an absolute requirement. It's an absolute necessity, and it requires, it deserves nothing but the very best framework to reach its full potential. And if it wasn't enough, let's say, to convince you, the truth is net zero is about to become mandatory. The EU is leading the way. The EU committed to a carbon neutrality EU-wise by 2050. Lots of regulations are underway right now. So including like the CSRD that will affect actually over 50,000 companies as of next year. As the climate crisis intensifies, like the key takeaway is because of that climate crisis and the upcoming regulation, incorporating strategy, sustainability as part of corporate strategy is not a choice anymore. It's actually a vital imperative, both for the planet and for the actual corporate resilience. Yet, this market, as we saw, is filled with major issues. It's a pretty immature market. We could go actually beyond those 10 minutes by far, stating all of them and explaining why. But let's say the main reasons that all specialists agree on are a very high exposure to greenwashing, a huge complexity, a lack of auditability, an issue of project funding accessibility, a lack of project monitoring and traceability, and a big tooling void, as right now there is no tools dedicated to carbon offset management. So all those issues, they hinder the industry's credibility and its potential for growth. So echoing those massive problems that we just saw, Carbonable's mission is to engineer trust and capability to the carbon offset market, like to start with, and actually at the larger scale and in the long term, ESG asset market as a whole. So we so how do we do so? Like we bring actually standardization to this market. We bring transparency, traceability, verifiability to it. We bring interoperability to foster collaboration and widespread action. So it's only by addressing the issues of trust and complexity and strengthening our capability, like the capability of the market, that we will truly elevate this industry where it ought to be. So how are we doing so? Well, we're doing so by building like an open source and decentralized infrastructure. So we are designing, in a few words, we're designing like the ideal framework for the market to reach its full potential. So this is our playground, and through carbonable infra, what we're doing is actually we're bridging and enabling the market supply, the asset management, and the market demand. So why are we, like, we're pioneering open source infrastructure, that's for sure, and why we're doing so for the collective good, and on two main aspects. Number one is because simply like environment is bigger than any one of us, is bigger than any corporation. It's just like it's a matter that we need all to fight for. So that's number one. And number two is technologically speaking, because we are building plenty of tech stack that can be reused by anyone because it's open source. And we're doing it open source both because it's purpose-driven and also pragmatically because this is open source that will provide trust. This is decentralization that will provide like trustless and interoperable systems. And we want to provide trust and prioritize the wide-scale utility while ensuring like the tech robustness. So we are not just about like promising change. We are actively building it and on StarkNet. And we cannot say this without proving it, right? So, well, I invite you to look at like our GitHubs after this presentation, but let's dig into like a few specific examples that show that what we have already built. So a concrete example, market issue number one, and all specialists agree on that, there is a big lack of quality supply of carbon credits. And so what we've created is a forward financing protocol which allows to pre-finance carbon removal projects that will generate carbon credits. And this protocol increases both like the reliability, the accessibility, and the agility of the funding, which are three key requirements in here. So several projects already funded through StarkNet mainnet, and one more to come very soon, actually, so stay tuned. Market issue number two, transparency and traceability. I think we already said it. This is one of the biggest gap here in the market, like greenwashing oriented. So while tokenization in itself can ensure transparency and traceability, it needs to be done in a smart way. Why? Because voluntary carbon credits per se are semi-fungible. They're not fungible. So they're semi-fungible by nature due to different characteristics. So where are they located, or like the project location, the project quality, the project typology, the project vintage, etc., etc. So therefore, we needed to actually establish a new standard for tokenized carbon credits. So that's what we've done through semi-fungible tokens. We've adopted ERC 3525, and we brought it to StarkNet ecosystem, and now it can be used by anyone in the ecosystem. Third example, for example, is the big issue of complexity right now in the market. Like, so you have plenty of standards that adds complexity, and so it not only confuses individuals, it also causes mistrust. And so we've built a meta registry, like an additional layer of trust to unify the asset statuses and asset management, and to provide shared and trusted data to anyone. So that's one of other example of what we've building that will be used not only by us, obviously, but by several actors of the ecosystem, certifiers, project developers, corporates, researchers, etc., etc. Number four, this is a good example also of what provides blockchain in general. So when you buy a carbon credit, you're not using it until you retire it. So retiring it is like burning your carbon credit. And so you can promise that you will do so, but what will actually prove it? And so what we've created is a smart contract that is a, let's say, future-proof commitment. So when you do this through us, you can future-proof the fact that, okay, this asset is going to be retired by default. There is no other choice. Another example, the dynamic nature of of those carbon assets. Carbon assets are projects that move forward, etc. So the characteristic change during time. But at the opposite, NFTs and SFTs by default are more of a static nature. So we faced the challenge that what we decided to do is actually to create a dynamic NFT and SFT, and so it's already live and used and about to be used by several companies. So much more. The list goes on. Many more achievements along the way, including farming protocol, carbon credit order book, monitoring, etc., etc. We are very happy that we actually gain trust from very renowned institutionals, like both off-chain and on-chain. We are proud to have them as our biggest advocates, and as well as climate experts and a growing community of world citizens. So, I mean, we are proud of how far we've been. We are proud of it, but yet this is just the beginning. We have really a strong pursuit of excellence and innovation as part of a Carbonable. We combine it with a holistic approach, and it pushes us to keep building, keep improving, keep answering the major needs of that market. So our goal is to become the gold standard for sustainable infrastructure. And based on our convergence of values and the game-changing, let's say, tech stack of Starknet, we are convinced that Starknet is the best partner and the best technology to get there. So we envision a lasting collaboration with them that will set Starknet as the home of decentralized sustainability. So to conclude, we have a core message here to communicate. Are you planning to carbon offsetting with integrity? Well, then just prove it. And as at the risk of repeating myself, just prove it. He said it that time. So yeah, thank you very much all for your attention, and happy to answer any of the questions that you might have.